Good evening, everyone from the Prosperity and Health Alliance. Great to have you on the call this evening. It's the top of the hour, 7 p.m. Uh, just a gorgeous day here in Vancouver, BC. The sun is shining. People are on the seawall. Things are happening. Tonight, you're going to get a Wade Lightheart solo presentation as Seehaw and Creel are wrapping up things in Hawaii. I believe Creel is on a plane, Seehaw is on a boat or a train or a plane or a car or somewhere, talking about the business, talking about the opportunity, talking about the water. From all reports, the event in Hawaii was awesome, so we're excited. Quick note, there will be a change. We did make a mistake. We were doing a Turbo Sunday on May 8th. That's going to change the date. We don't know the date of that, and that is simply because turns out that was Mother's Day. Somehow we planned that in advance. We do not want to mess up any Mother's Day by our Turbo Sunday because none of us would be here without our mothers, so we've got to defer to authority. So we will give an announcement when we can find a location and time for that. In the meantime, get your seat belts ready because in July is the Enagic Global Convention. And if you haven't gotten your ticket, get it. If you haven't booked your hotel, book it. If you haven't figured out your flights, figure it out. And here's why. We've got exactly 92 days, I think, something like that, before the event. That means this Wednesday, we got like 13 weeks till it shows up. It's coming. All-out massive action. The time is now. So we're excited. We're delighted. We're going to get into that a little bit. But tonight, I'm going to talk about a topic that some people are going to find uncomfortable, some people are going to love, some people are going to hate. But at the end of the day, your business is determined by whether you can produce or not. So today's title is called, Are You a Producer or an Excuser? Okay, which one are you? Basically, there's two types of people in this business at the end of the day. The people who produce, and that is results. They get more people on the water, they help more people, they build a business, they make money. And there's people who have excuses. I don't have time. I had things to do. I had business stuff, family obligation, whatever it happens to be. At the end of the day, becoming fully accountable to oneself, one's goals, one's vision, one's daily schedule is going to determine if you're going to reach your goals or not. And the reality is we have a phenomenal opportunity. In my experience in business, which I've been in business self-employed because I was unemployable since 1998, so that's going on 18 years, I guess, now since I had someone, writing me a check for my work. The reality is this, is your habits on a daily basis is going to determine your results. But it's really hard to build habits if you don't have a vision. And we're going to take you through a process that we've done in some of my companies, which is taking your vision and turning it into traction. And I'm going to refer to some books because this is just a generalized overview. The reality is the Enagic business or the Enagic opportunity has presented us an extraordinary opportunity. And what the opportunity is we have the ability to get involved in a global distribution business that pays commissions that frankly no other company on the planet pays with a product that virtually everybody needs. And the beauty of it is you don't need all of the regular skills or all of the savvy or all of the cash resources that a normal business needs. We have leveraged when you sign up for a water business, when you sign up for an Ukon or a water machine or an ionizer, you're leveraging the power of a billion-dollar brand. You're leveraging the power of a 42-year-old distribution organization and company. You're leveraging an opportunity that really has come to fruition in the age of digital technology. Cell phones, Facebook, emails, YouTube has made our business easier than ever. it's also made it easier than ever to get distracted. And tonight, my goal for you guys is to help you use some tools that I learned along the way and some of my colleagues have learned along the way to take your vision, not my vision, your vision, and turn it into something that gets you traction, that keeps you excited, that builds momentum, and helps identify the areas you need work in or need to improve in, and also the areas that your niche or what gets you juiced up and how to partner with the people and the processes that are allowing you to maximize your gifts and your abilities to your best benefit and the benefit of your customers and the benefit of your team. So this is just simple steps for being productive in your Enagic business. Okay? So moving along. So there's three things that really you're going to move from. There's number one is your vision, number two is your goal, and number three is traction. And where the two is a vision is something that gets broken down into goals. And in order to achieve your goals, you've got to get traction. And what I mean by traction is you've got to get a process where you are getting towards the goals that you want and that those goals are in alignment with your values and your vision. That is the process of building a really great business and building a great lifestyle business. And I think with Enagic, we have one of the great lifestyle businesses. And I'm going to refer to you over here. I always like to point out, I always have a little sign, something up here. Up here I've got, I don't know if you can read this, but it says, when there is no vision, the people will perish. Now, that was King Solomon. And he lived thousands of years ago, is considered one of the wisest people in the world, built a big empire. But the bottom line is where there's no vision. So where do people, number one, get bogged down? They get bogged down because they forgot their vision. Their vision got lost in a television program they got lost in. Their vision got lost in scrolling through Facebook. The vision got lost by getting distracted by all these interruption devices. Instead of leveraging these devices to achieve your vision, these devices stole you away from your vision. So we're going to talk about how you create your vision and how you take that vision and keep you on laser focus, to keep you in the direction, to keep you going towards your goal. Now, what is the difference between a vision and a goal? Well, a goal is a specific set of actions, a measurable result that you can get accountability on, that it's a set of actions that you think is going to help you get to your vision. Now, goals are kind of lost in today's world, and you know, I think it's really important to leverage goals in a way that's positive and to take your goals and see them as feedback. And then finally is, how do you get traction? How do you take your vision and go, everybody's got a vision board now, everybody's got the pictures, you know, that's a big thing, and everybody's got a goal list. But how do you get, you know, traction? How do you get that in a way that's going to allow you to reach your goals and that those goals are going to lead to your vision? So we're going to go through that for you tonight in regards to Enagic, and I'm excited about this. I'm delighted about it. I've implemented this in some of my businesses, and it's been amazing. Some areas it's painful, but pain can be an indicator where you need work, so don't be afraid of it. So here's the thing. So let's start with building your vision. And we talked about when there's no vision, the people perish, King Solomon. I'm going to refer to you to a book, The Magic of Thinking Big. One of the things that I absolutely hate, I'm going to use that word, hate, is, what's that terminology? Smart girls. Specific, measurable, and all that sort of stuff, realistic and timely, right? Here's the thing. Nothing great was ever achieved by thinking small. Nothing great was ever achieved by having a small vision. Nothing great was accomplished. No big movement was created or built if you didn't have a vision. And when I mean for a vision for your life, a vision for how you want to live your life, what do you want to do, who do you want to touch, how do you want to make a difference? And there's a great book, and it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I read this 20 years ago, and I recommend that everybody check it out. It's a way of looking at building a big organization or a big movement, or how your organization contributes to your big goals, right? So a big goal might not be financial. It might be some sort of contribution goal. It might be the number of people you touch. It might be the achievement of certain things. But the bottom line is that's a great book, and it's very relative for your industry. The other thing is, when you're talking about vision, I instantly think of guys by the name of Tony Robbins and Brendon Burchard. And Tony Robbins has been one of the great visionaries of our time for the last 30 plus years or whatever. And he talks about creating a big, hairy, scary vision, something that almost frightens you. It's so great. And by doing that, it starts to leverage your super self, your highest level. And there's nobody that embodies that better than him. He's got some great books, the Awaken the Giant Within. He just came out with a book, the first one in 20 years, which is Money, Master the Game, amazing, about building vision for your financial life. And I think it's a great thing that all of us in this business can use and leverage to not just build income, but to build security over the long term. And then, of course, Brendon Burchard, of course, is one of the high-performance guys that I follow. I think both of these guys are fantastic. You can get out to some of their events. I highly recommend it. Brendon talks about sustainable performance and sustainable high performance, not peak performance, but sustainable performance. I think that's a really big distinction about. It's one thing to kind of have a blast in a day and do one thing, or once a week, or once a month, or once a quarter, or after an event. But how do you get sustainable actions? And that's really what we're talking about: how to turn your vision to goals to traction. And I'm going to refer to this book right here. I hope you guys can see it. It's called Traction: How to Get a Grip on Your Business. This is by Gino Wickman. And this is a phenomenal book. I just read this recently, and I've implemented it. And I can tell you this: it's made an amazing way to how to structure your business. And by the way, we haven't learned how to structure a business or how to think in terms of creating traction. And basically, it's a really great version and a proven process of how to turn your vision into a daily method of operation. So let's rewind. And one of the things that we talked about, and I'll take a drink of water here. By the way, if you have these, write these things down, get these goals written down in a way that you can access them. So Simon Sinek, and we put this on one of the original videos inside of the Prosperity and Health Alliances, is why are you doing what you're doing? Like if you can't answer this question, you're done. It's over. You're finished. You're really in the rat race and you don't even know it. Even if you're doing a job that you like, even if you're doing your Kangen business, even if you're doing whatever it happens to be, your relationships in life, your spiritual practice, whether it's your fitness program, whether it's your community service, or whatever it is, like, why are you doing what you do? If you can ask this question, why you are doing something, you're going to leverage the core emotion that will drive you through the hard times. It is the core emotion that will drive you to grow. It is the core emotion being that will get the energy into your business and your process that will generate momentum. Why are you doing it? Some people are doing it for their kids. Some people are doing it for status. Some people are doing it for contribution. Some people are doing it for income or for financial security or for a sense of accomplishment or a sense of connection. Identify your why you are doing this, because that's what's going to drive you. With no why, you will die. Because, again, you're not tapping into the emotional side of your vision. And I think a lot of people don't ask questions why. Like, why am I doing this? And for some people, that's a scary question. It really is, because if they really analyze why they're doing this, and one of the key things is to ask, like a 3-year-old, is to ask why at least 3 times. If you and take it down, and you'll be surprised. On anything. Why am I doing? So why am I doing my business, right? Well, so that I can make money. Well, why am I looking to make money? So I can pay my bills. Well, why do I want to pay my bills? Because then I'll be happy, right? Let's say that's the course that you go down. Well, wait a second. Do any of those things have anything to do with happiness? No, you can be happy right now. So let's rewind. So by going, and then, well, why do I want to be happy? Because it feels good. Well, what makes me feel happy? Right? Well, then you can reverse the process. So driving those whys deeper, very thing to get your core values. Okay, there's a great process in this, in the traction book. Next thing, what's important to you? What are the 5 core values? So I had a sheet, so I'll show you a little thing. As most people know, I have a nutrition company. We came up with it, our team. Here's this little sheet. And basically, you can reduce your whole business down to 3 sheets. So I got 3 sheets. So we have a list of values, right? You know, some of these are things that are fun and creative and being organized and commitment to greatness and a resourcefulness and hyper. What are the company values? What are the values that is important to you? And believe me, oftentimes when we're not getting along with people or we don't like people or that we think that other people are doing something that's not in alignment with us, it's really just that their values are different than ours. And if we can see the value of other people's values, or we can find out other people's values without judgment and help them reach their goals, provided they're not hurting other people, obviously, then we can get concordance. And that's a big thing to leverage in your business to allow us to get to that level where we understand what our values are, because when we understand what our values are, we can better see other people's values. And we can appreciate other people's values and understanding that we don't have to have the same values, but this business can help that person achieve their goals and their values. Or someone else's values will translate and can be supportive of our own business. So they're not exclusive of, they're concordant. But if you don't define, again, this is driving your whys or how you want to experience life on a daily basis. And then finally, you got to ask yourself, well, how am I going to get there? How are you going to get there? And when I mean get there, get to your vision. How are you going to achieve that? What are you going to do? You're in the Enagic business. You've picked a vehicle that has a low cost of entry with a high rate of return, that has maybe one of the best lifestyle businesses that you can find, that contributes to others. So it's been around for 40 years. It's financially solid. So we got all of the pluses that this has, and of course, that's a great thing. So the business aspect has already been built for us. But the question is how are you going to get there? That this is more like, what is my daily method of operations? How do I reduce this to a set of measurable actions? Because it really boils down to this. Your vision is, let's say you want to have a 6-figure income coming in no matter what. You want to do this in 10 years. Well, guess what? There is a precise number of actions, positive steps that need to occur. Maybe it's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 100,000. I don't know how many steps that is, but there is a number. And if you start moving step by step to that number, the amount of effort, energy, and actions you take will determine the time that you experience to having that. Okay? So let's talk about that. Turning your visions into goals. Here's what we're going to do. And I'm going to have a copy of this. It's always on video, so we're going to get into this. Take a big drink of Kangen coolant for the engine because we're ready to shift this into turbo. All right? Let's look at this. 10-year target. Start with the 10-year target. You got your vision. Where do you want to be in 10 years? How old are you going to be in 10 years? What is your decade vision? How does that shape up for you? Like, where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? What is the income you're going to have? All that sort of stuff. What is the experiences? Where is that going to be? What is that 10-year vision for you? Are you clear about it? Is it tangible? Do you have pictures of it? Is there numbers around it? Like, do you have numbers around this? This is somewhat general, but throw some things out there. You might be surprised where you end up. Okay? So start with that. Then you want to transit, and by the way, there's a process, again, in this traction book, if you want to go through this, Traction by Gino Wickman, if you want to go through this step by step, it'll take you through this because sometimes it can get vague. They got a systematized process that you can go through. It's going to take you a couple of days to go through the whole thing, but it's well worth the effort. Then you want to get to your 3-year target, and this one you're going to get more specific. You're going to get into something that's closer and tangible. So a lot of people say, oh, I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make $100,000 a month in 10 years. Okay. And in 3 years, you want to make a six-figure income. You want to make, okay, I can realistically get to $100,000 a year or $10,000 a month, let's say, in that length of time. Okay, now you're getting numbers. Well, what's that going to mean? Well, that means that your business is going to have to generate $10,000 a month. Okay, well, what does that mean? That means your business is going to generate $2,500 a week on average. Well, guess what? You know, if you follow what we point out on a 6-8 on the road to 6823, you literally can be doing that in 3 to 6 months if you were willing to do the work. But most people will lose the 3-year vision, because the reality is on your 5th sale, if you set up your business right, you can be pulling down about $1,000 a machine. And if you're doing trifectas, this is going to happen real quick. So that is powerful, very, very powerful. So let's move on here. So let's talk about, what does your business look like in 3 years? What are you doing? Who are you connecting? Do you have leaders? Are you looking to identify leaders, or are you trying to make sales? That's another question that we have to establish. Okay? So describe it in numerical terms. What are the numbers that you need? How many sales do you need to happen a month? How many new people do you need to bring in? What is the amount of events that you got to go to? What are the skills you need to learn? Bring this into scope and to get an idea of the numbers. And that doesn't have to be discouraging. It has to be motivating. I'm just using it for example. It could be $1,000 a month, whatever you want. Okay? Understand, if you want to get more work, you want to get more of it. Kim, for some reason, just incidentally, I'm trying to get my my sheet. My thing is frozen, and I don't know how to fix it. I got that little webinar thing pulling up. Can you correct that?
What is it
You know
you're
that
trying to do?
I'm trying to get the control panel off my screen here, because it's blocking my vision of the
Hit the orange button. Click the orange.
I can't click it. That's what I'm saying. My mouse isn't working.
Ah, I don't know how to fix that.
You don't know how to fix that?
No.
So okay, let me try this again.
All right.
Okay, I'm back. How are we doing?
You're doing good.
I lost my cursor. We're just going to keep going without it. Screw
I
it.
can see your cursor though.
I can't. I don't know how to get it on the orange. So anyways, let's keep going. Can we get rid of this thing? There we go. Now we got it. Okay, we're back. I figured it out.
Okay.
There you go, folks. Don't let technology blow you out. All right. So keep going. No matter what. Goals to traction. So who's your target market? AKA the list. AKA the list. Your target market first is starting out in your list. But I want to invite you to something that I think is really important. And this is harder when you start out. But the sooner you adapt this modality, the easier the business gets. We're not trying to sell machines. If you want to build a great business, a great organization, we're not trying to sell machines. We are trying to identify that market that our machines are for, and we are trying to identify business leaders that are going to drive the business. That's it. We're interviewing. We know that not everybody's going to build a business. We know that not everybody is going to be a 6A. Everybody could, and everybody could benefit from water, but the reality is they're not going to. And why is that? Because they're not ready, or they're not capable, or they're not willing. Whatever it happens to be, doesn't matter. So what are you doing? You are interviewing people to see, is this the right time and the right place for them? If it isn't, move on. The worst thing that you can do is trying to turn lead into gold. Do not get hooked on any one person because you think they can be good for the business. And if you get someone that you think that may not be good for the business, find out who they know, because the reality is you don't know who's good for the business. But you've got to say, I'm looking for people and I'm seeing if they're qualified. If you imagine you're a part of a NAGIC, you're part of the Prosperity and Health Alliance. You have an online training program. You have a massive global distribution business in place. You're manufacturing machines. You're the front line of that. You've got all of this stuff. You've got a sales force behind you. You've got everything in your thing. Like, you literally have this, and I want you to think this way. when you sign up for this, you have the whole power of a Enagic behind you that has built the system behind you. That is, and you're interviewing people to see if they're ready to see and get this. And the reality is not everybody's there. So you got to work the list to identify those people. That's what you got to do. The next thing, what's your 3 unique selling points for your business? Why should anyone join your organization? If you are not clear about what you're bringing to the table in regards to your business, you're done. You are not going to attract the talent that is going to allow you to grow. And some people say that's harsh, but I'm saying this because it's something that I've learned over time, that when you identify these 3 things, what happens is there is a clarity in your communication to that new prospect. There is a clarity in sharing with them what you have as a product, what you have as a business, what you have as an organization, what you are bringing to the table, and what are you inviting them to take part in. If you don't know those things, and those can be different, so you might, when you go back to your core values, maybe environment is really important. If you haven't checked it out, on my Facebook, I posted an amazing article by Tony Robbins. Now, Tony Robbins happens to own one of our machines, and he doesn't mention Enagic, but he shows the real cost of plastic bottles, disposable plastic bottle containers. That's a very passionate and big vision. He's taken that on, and it's a beautiful article, and I would recommend everyone go to my Wade Light Art Facebook, get that, and post it on your wall, and be proud of what you're doing. Maybe you're really into the health. When I got started in the business, I talked about the health. I talked about the antioxidants. I talked about the specialty waters. I talked about the beauty waters, and I talked about the environmentally friendliness of the thing. That's what interested. I wasn't interested in the business. When Seahawk got started, he says, "Hey, look, I was showing people about the businesses. There was a way for financial value. They could bring great finances, and they could buy back their time so they could be with their family." So for that was his whole component. Right, and now he's transited into a home health package or the entrepreneur's package. That's how he sells those. What's your proven process? Okay, so what's our proven process? Here's what it is. It's Eric Warrior's Go Pro. That is the process that everybody in this business, those 7 skills, and it's on one of the webinars. It's in the Go Pro book. It's readily available in Enagic. There's like a gajillion videos on YouTube that you can get for free where Eric will train you every single day. The best known network marketing professional trainer in the world, and you can access him for free. I also recommend finding an Enagic leader in the organization. So get on all the calls, get on all the webinars, try them all out. Get on the one that you like and find the leader that you can use as a mentor. And what I mean by a mentor is someone who you look up to, someone who inspires you, somebody that you resonate with personally so that you can do the things that feel in alignment with your values. So find out what the values. Now the global convention is coming up. So virtually all of the top leaders are going to be accessible, and you can meet them, and you can connect with them, and you can get to know them, and you can find your mentor. And I can tell you this, having a mentor is amazing. Now that mentor may not be directly influencing your business by telling you the specific things that you know, but they're a source of inspiration for you. And you may move through different mentors at different times in your business for different reasons. But those mentors are powerful. I mean, I had an experience a couple weeks ago. I met my mentor. So as many people know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big mentor of mine in bodybuilding. He helped me build a process when I was 15 years old and living 5 miles in the middle of the woods and in a barn. I was so inspired by him as a mentor that I built my own gym and I started bodybuilding, and then years later it turned into a professional bodybuilding career, and I got to the Mr. Universe and I traveled the world, and then I built a personal training business out of it, and then I built a nutrition company out of it, and then out of that I got into Enagic, and then all of that stuff happens, and then literally 30 years after I was introduced to the guy, I'm in the Gold's Gym a couple weeks ago, and he taps me on the shoulder, and we have a real fun conversation as it just kind of ensued. How did that happen? Vision. I didn't know how some of that stuff, but vision, and I encourage you to get a big vision, get a big dream, follow a process, and you'll be surprised. The next thing you know, you become friends with your mentor or have a connection or a moment, and it's powerful. But the good news is in Enagic, you can get access to all the top guys, all the top girls with the mentorship program. So we have it in Enagic because they're all doing webinars. They're all online. I go to Danny D. McCauley's Kongan One Info. We don't do Monday nights, the first Monday of the month. Why? I'm on the call learning from Danny. On Saturday mornings, we're learning from Eli or we're learning from Michelle, right? So these are opportunities we have from the best of the best to learn these things, okay? So then you go to your one-year plan, and this is where you get specific. In your one-year plan, you get specific about the time you're going to invest, the amount of money you want to make, and the process that you are going to commit to do those things, okay? So how much time are you going to put realistically and you're going to commit to? How much money you want to make, and what is the process that you're going to do to get that, okay? I'm not a big believer in sitting, I think one of the big things where people got lost in the secret is they thought, well, if I just sit here and meditate and hope the money is going to show up and magic's going to happen. No, people miss the point is that the vision that you have is so compelling, that you visualize it so succinctly and so clearly and so focused and so much emotion that you can't help but get up in the motion and start doing the things you need to do. Now, when you're doing that, it's not a linear result. In other words, you think that by talking to these 15 people that one of those people are going to be the result. But I've seen this over and over. You're working those 15 people and somebody way out of left field that you don't even know about, you didn't hear about, contacts you or runs into you or stops into you and finds out that they want to buy a machine or they want to get involved in a business. The action that you need to take is in your perceptual field. That's the linear action. And the nonlinear action shows up from what you think that it's going to get you. What's really going to happen, you don't know. It's off the radar. But by doing those actions and committing to those actions, you build up an energy field that attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right thing into your life at the right time. But you got to do your part. Okay? So what are the major things you need to learn, do, acquire, investigate, or let go of? I'm going to say that one more time. What are the major things you need to learn, to do, to acquire, to investigate, or let go of to reach your goals this year? Now, we just finished quarter one. The reality is, let's look back at your results. Eric Warren says plan, do, review. Everybody came out of the gate. They wanted to make a big plan. They, you took actions or you didn't take actions. What happened? Now, don't get down on yourself. This is not about beating yourself up. This is not about pounding your chest and saying, I'm the greatest if you were successful. Let's look at the things that you are doing and dispassionately view them and say, well, this is the results I produced. Is it going in the right direction? Can I make some adjustments? Okay. So one of the things of taking your year is you want to break your year down into quarters. And the reason why is it's really hard for the brain to get motivated on a vision that's outside of 90 days. 90 days is about as long as your brain can stay focused on anything. And, there's a lot of evidence in today's world. It's easy to get distracted. And before you know it, we're already in April. It's almost May. There's almost 5 months gone of the year. Year's just about half over. We're 90 days away from the big Enagic convention. Are you hitting those rank goals? Are you going across the stage? Do you have your team? How many people are you taking? Are you reaching down and getting the things that you said you were going to do last year or last quarter? If you're not, that's okay, but you have to recognize where you are today as a result of what you've done in the last 90 or 180 days or the last year. So if you want a different result, you've got to change what you're doing. So here's what we're going to talk about. So plan your action. And assuming you got your vision, you got your why, what is your action? Measure your action and review your action. That's plan, do, review. But then there's another step, and that is improve your action. there's always room for improvement. There's always a way to get better, to get faster, to get more efficient, to get more effective, and you will learn this by taking action. And then monitoring that action, so keeping track of your results, and then reviewing it periodically every quarter so that you can improve your action. If you do not do this, you're done. So like, for example, I have these books, right? I have these books, and inside these books, I've got my big goals, right? I keep doing this, and when I have a conversation with someone every day, I write down the name of the person, the time, what I was talking about, what I was going to, because this is how I remember things. And I remember them and I write them down, and then when I go back after 3 months, I flip back to my page and bang, I'm right there. I'm right back, and my brain goes, boom, I remember the conversation, I remember what was said, I remember what has happened. And just by the process of writing it, it translates in my memory. That's mine. Different people have different things. And you can go back to, there's a book called Managing Oneself. It's a little 50-page book, and it's about how you learn, how you remember, how you operate, and how you're best successful. That's a great book. So I would highly recommend that, Managing Oneself, okay? So the next thing you want to get to is keep adjusting until you get what I call dialed, okay? So back in the old days, you know, you had to dial in the channels, and you had to turn the dial till you got the right, or you had to dial in the radio set to, you know how you're going. We didn't have digital receivers back then, so there was no like precision. You had to kind of just tweak it, and then you drive down the road 20 miles and you weren't quite on it again, so you had to just tweak it. So that's kind of how your business, your 1 year and your 90-day program, you're constantly adjusting the dials till you get into that sweet spot where everything's just in flow mode and you're doing your essence. You've partnered with the people that are doing their essence, and you're moving forward in a way that is in alignment with your values, that helps you get to your vision, that is driving the business to get where you want to go. That's the key to getting momentum, excitement, and success, and where you're in the sweet spot of doing what you love, when you want, where you want, with who you want. So let's talk about that. This is what I call getting traction. Traction in your business. Look, it starts with a 90-day game plan. And the reality is, if you just come up with a 90-day game plan, you could probably get somewhere. The thing is, if you haven't figured out your core values and you haven't figured out what you're going to do or how you're going to do this, or you've put numbers on, you can get to being successful but not having fulfillment, which is the worst thing that can happen to you in life. Worst thing that can happen is that you make a lot of money, you achieve your dreams, you do whatever, and then you realize this isn't what I wanted, or this wasn't aligned in my values. And you're surprised how many people who get successful don't realize this. And so you want to go through that. Next thing, you need to get number specific. There's only one thing that you can control in your business. One thing. And Jordan Belfort talks about this in Straight Line Persuasion. The one thing that you can control is how many people you contact. That's it. How many people you contact, and how often do you follow up on them till you drive them to a yes or a no? You've got to get to a yes or a no, because that takes it out of your brain. And no doesn't mean no that, it doesn't mean no that you're no good. It doesn't mean that no, the machine's no good, or no, the business opportunity. No just means that this isn't the right product or the right opportunity at the right time for that person right now. You want to get to that no or that yes so that you're not taking up a bunch of space trying to turn lead into gold. Follow what I'm saying? And most people are not a hard no or a hard yes. Most people are in a range on a scale of 1 to 10, and that's one of the things that I use to gauge people's heart after I've done an exposure to. It's like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning you're never going to do this, 10 meaning you're ready to buy right now. Where are you on that scale? Where you know? And they say, you know, I'm about a 7. I'm like, okay, 7, that's great. Well, what would it take to move you from a 7 to 10? And they'll say, well, I'm not sure. And I'm like, oh, no, you know, just asking. You know, if you could just wave a magic wand, what would the one thing that would need to happen, or the two things that would need to happen for you to get? And they're like, well, I need to get some money going on. Okay, well, how much money do you think you'd need to get that? And they say, well, if, it's 5,000 bucks. Whatever, you just divide that down and say, great. And then you go, so if I were able to help you remove that obstacle, would you able to move forward at that time? And they say, yeah, I would. Or they say, well, no. And I said, well, is there anything else holding you back? Right? And when you ask that and realize that you're going through a process, now you're taking the onus off you or me or our opportunity. You're going back to them and just finding out how you can help remove the obstacle or eliminate their buying belief. Because that's all that's stopping people from owning a Kangen machine. If you understand the tax savings, the health savings, the financial benefits of owning this machine, you get a machine. And if you don't have understanding, you don't get a machine. So really, it's about how well you educate and get understanding. Eric Warwick talks about that. So the reality is how many people you contact and how do you sift through those people to get the people who are 7s and above to a sale, and how you drip on the 4 to 6s on a annual or monthly or semi-monthly or bi-monthly, whatever that is, basis to get them to where they're a 7, because things change for people. And how do you move away from the people that are 3 and below as quickly as possible before they poison you with their ideologies and their negativities and their lack of vision? Because the reality is, when there is no vision, the people will perish. And if you're hanging around with people that have no vision, you need to get away from them. Flat out, they'll ruin your life. And I'm saying that with all the love and compassion I can in the world, because the reality is most people live their life like they're going to live forever. But the one constant that we're constantly losing is time. Relative to physical reality, we're losing time. So get focused. Realize it's getting late. It's later than you think. We don't have, how many more times are you going to have those summer barbecues? How many more times are you going to see your kids or your grandkids, right? Every time you see them, you're getting closer to the last time, right? And sometimes, people leave their business. I had a good friend that was in the business recently. He left this life very, very suddenly. It was very unexpected. In fact, I was with him just before he came to one of our events. We dropped him off. After the event, he was going to meet us the next day for a business meeting, and I got a phone call the next day that person was dead. That's how quick it can happen. So that's why, going back to your core values, if you're doing what you love, because life's not guaranteed, even if today was the last day that I was doing it, as Steve Jobs would say, would I be doing what I'm doing today? And I think what's really great about Enagic, and I love this business, is because, I'll continue to keep doing it just because it's so good for people, it's so good for the planet, it's so good for the environment, it's so good for people's finances, and this is a great group of people that are part of this project. So that's an amazing thing. And let's understand something. Understanding a process is what creates sustainable momentum. If you don't have a process of daily operations or a moving towards something, it's just a hodgepodge of things. And even if you get something to work, you don't necessarily know how you got that to work. Or if you're not producing results, you don't actually know how to measure what wasn't producing results, because you have no process, you have no measurable, and then you can't get traction. If you have a process, if you're measuring that, if you're writing it down, if you're taking notes, if you're doing that, if you're going a daily step of actions and doing this, you can tell if your process is working or if it's not working, and then you can make the adjustments to the dial. And let's face facts. You know what the difference between producers and excusers is? Discipline. Daily discipline. And I'm going to share something that most people don't understand about discipline. Discipline is not something that you're born with. Discipline is a muscle. And I believe that discipline is directly connected to the clarity of your vision and the alignment of your values. Because if you have a clear vision and you've got your values in order, you will have discipline. And what that means is the things that don't move you toward your vision in alignment with your values, you just won't do. You just won't do them. Because you're only going to want to do the things that's in alignment with your values that get you to your vision, and you're going to follow a process that you're tweaking to get there. That's the difference between producers and excusers. That's it. Excusers always have a reason why that person's successful and they're not. Excusers always have a reason why that person has time and they don't. Excusers have a reason why they're going to do it next month or next year, or there's an emotional problem, or there's something wrong with the company. There's something wrong with the product. There's something wrong with the people they're talking to. There's something wrong with everything. You see that? That's because their vision is focused on what's wrong. Their vision is focused on what's going to give them an excuse, because they don't have a clear vision for themselves. They don't have goals for themselves. They don't have a process for themselves. And once you get that vision clear, this all comes easy, and discipline now creates freedom, not suffering. Discipline is the pathway to freedom. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about 3 stages to creating your process, and that is plan. What's your daily action schedule? So I have a calendar, and most people do. So on this calendar, right, you just go on here. It's super simple. You schedule each day, okay? Now, this morning, I sent out an email to the Prosperity and Health Alliance. You all got it. And I just showed you what my daily calendar looks like. It's nothing special, but it's what works for me. Now, I'm not saying you have to do it. I just want to give you an idea. When I set my vision and my goals, I look at, health is important to me. My spiritual life is important to me. My work output is important to me. Peace of mind is important to me. My exercise and dietary regimen is important to me. And my social connections are important to me. So I build that all into my week, and I create my schedule to support those values. So I seamlessly go from one thing to the next, simply because I know what I'm doing and I don't have to think about it. If I think about it, I'm done. By planning that out, and then what happens is the world bends to my schedule. And now I have to make adjustments sometimes, but I can make adjustments with that. And then what I do is each night, I write down what I'm going to do tomorrow. Why? Because this, for some reason, doesn't register in my brain. Getting out a pen and writing, and I go, so I just picked this up. This is what, October 20th, 2015. Well, what did I do that day? Well, I started my day with my normal energy routine. I had an energized meditation, reading, yeah. Okay, then I sent out 25 texts. Okay, that's great. Then I went for my workout. Then I had lunch. I was doing my taxation receipts. I had an interview. I spoke to a prospect. I had a prospect from 2 to 5. It was Jennifer. Then I had dinner. And then that night from 7 to 9, we had a demo. And then after that, I went for a walk with my girlfriend, because that's important to me. And I checked all these things off. The other thing is, I had a list of people I had to call. So I had to call Dale and Jana and Zane. I had to call Galiz and these guys and other business operations, and I had to call Nagic, and I had to call a guy named Niraj and Siraj, and I had to talk to Mary Ev, and I had to talk to Callie, and I had to talk to Lamont, and I had to make sure that one of the companies I was working with got their UConn. And I checked off all those things. So that's what I did on October 20th, 2015. I just put that up randomly, right? I can look back, on another day, right? What did I do? Let's get a different book, right? Here's a different book, right? So you see what I'm saying, right? What happened on, what day is it here? Let's just flip. Oh, here's one. January 11th, 2015. Okay, so there I started off my workout, meditation energized. I did my workout. I had a business call from 9 to 11. I met with a friend of mine who was coming to town from 12 to 5. That was very important to me. And then I had a PH Alliance call at 6 p.m. And the other thing is I had I had to text Jerry and Hardeep, and then I also had to create something for the PH Alliance. That's what I did that day. That's important, understanding that process. And I wanted to share that with you, not to say that I'm doing something better or whatever, but if I don't do these things, it doesn't work. And this creates freedom in my life. It's not pain. And it just takes a little bit to learn that. So what's your daily action schedule? How are you measuring and maximizing your efforts? And I want to be conscious of the time here because we're coming up at the end of the hour and we'll get to questions in a minute. How are you measuring and maximizing your efforts? You know, the old saying is that if you want to get something done, you give it to somebody who's busy. And the reason why busy people tend to be more organized and there's a sense of urgency to get things done. If you don't have urgency to get things done, you need to find someone that has urgency that can keep you accountable. Number three, you want to review. Where are you succeeding? Where is your team succeeding? Where are you not producing the results you want? Who can mentor you? Who can coach you? Or who can improve your performance? The fact that you're on this call is amazing. The fact that you're using these webinars and leveraging this is a way that you can improve and help your performance. That's the goal of these. That's why we're doing these things. This, for example, doing these webinars, this isn't a direct money-making activity in my business. This isn't something that's going to generate initial revenues. But what this is going to do, it's going to help the people in my organization, the people in our organization, learn the skills and learn the processes that's taken us to where we are and allows them to be successful. And I have enough people in my organization who are successful, I instantly reach my goals and my dreams, and I also am in alignment with my values. And my values is I want to share what I've learned, both the good things and the bad things, the mistakes I've made, to help you achieve your goals. That's a big value of mine. Even if it doesn't pay me much initially, it gives me a wealth of satisfaction to help out my team because I love you guys. I really, really do. So let's go back here, and I'm going to talk about leveraging painful accountability. And Eric Worre does a video on this, you can look it up, where he was saying, committing to, if you don't do what you're going to do, pick what's a painful option that you're very uncomfortable with as a penalty. Now, that's extreme ownership, but Tony Robbins says there's two basic motivational strategies. There's that which produces pleasure, or that's which creates pain. And if you do something that's going to leverage pain, chances are it's going to motivate you more. And a lot of people won't tell you that, but that's the reality is. I hope that most people are motivated by pleasure, but the reality is if it's something painful, they'll show up. And if you want to get more into this, you can look at extreme ownership. And that's how the U.S. Navy SEALs win. It's a book out there by U.S. Navy SEAL. And these are people where the cost of mistakes cost lives. You make a big mistake as a Navy SEAL, one of your buddies dies, or you die, or you get maimed, or that's what happens. It's extreme accountability, extreme ownership, and it's a great book about understanding and taking ownership. And I think it's something that's very, very powerful. And the person that wrote that takes that and applies it to daily, how applies it to businesses around the world. It's a great book and will help you identify key things to get accountable for yourself. So let's go to your 90-day game plan, right? Number one, you want to write down goals that are measurable. You want to get your rank that you want to achieve, the income that you want to produce, the number of people you've got to contact or contacted, what's your team goal, what's your team members' goals, helping them reach their goals will help you reach your goals. So there's a team goal and a personal goal. So you say, well, I want to help 3 of my people achieve the rank of 4A. Well, if you do that, chances are you're going to be at 5A. You follow what I'm saying? So you don't have to, your personal goal to be 5A, but you've got 3 people on your team. If you help those 3 people get to 4A, your personal goal's done. It's taken care of. And you've got momentum. That's the power of a NAGIC, sharing true health with compassion. So let's talk about this. So when you're talking about a game plan, you need to start promoting the game plan in advance. You want to write out a detailed description of your game plan, what you are going to do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis. You want to find out who's in your inner circle, who's the team members, the coaches, the mentors, and the motivators. Remember, they're different. A mentor is different than a motivator. A coach is different than a mentor, and a team member is different than those. You might be coaching a team. You might be coaching a team member. You might be getting coached by someone, and you may have to find motivation or motivators for you, whether that's people, places, or things, to get you so that you're ready to help your team members, or you're in the right frame to do your presentations, or you're connecting with the right mentors. You see, that's a key component. Getting the best people, and there's never been a better time. So each morning, and we'll talk about this in a little minute, what I do, of how I leverage that here. So for you guys. So let's talk about the launch. I know we talked about the first year, 90 days, all-out massive action. And here's the thing. What does all-out massive action look like for you? We've got 90 days to the big event. We got 90 days right now, 92 or 93 days. So you could actually get this altar prepared and really make a big push for the Enagic convention coming in July. Okay, like what a great opportunity to take your vision, put it into a goal, and push, and do not let yourself off the hook. Just do it. You'll be glad you did. You'll pay for the trip. Okay, anybody, if you're a 1A, you just got to start. You can pay for your trip if you get laser focused over the 90 days. So get some focus. Go purchase the ticket on your credit card. Get into that event. Be there. Get connected with us. I want to hug you. I want to spend time with you. I want to get in the group with you. I want our team members. I want you to meet some of the other team members and have fun and eat salads and jump up and down and laugh and just have a great old time with this event, so you can see the bigger picture with thousands of people. That's going to activate your brains in a way that you can't imagine unless you go. You want to look at month 1 to 3. What is your actions? How many calls you're going to make? How many text blitzes are you going to do? I recommend 25 texts the first of every week. If you're going on a super all-out match action, you're going to, and we'll break that down in a second. You talk about how many ticket sales, how many people, how many meetings are you going to do? Get these numbers and commit to these numbers and get them. Frankly, if you're going to build this business, you need to put in 2 hours minimum per day. 2 hours a day. And that means, what are you going to have to let go of to get your 2 hours? If you're not doing 2 hours a day, you're not going to build momentum. That's the reality. You maybe have to cut out some TV. Maybe you're going to have to cut back on your regular job and do more of this. Maybe you're going to have to cut back on some of your leisure. Maybe you're going to have to stay up late after the kids go to bed. I don't know what that is. But 2 hours a day, and if you're looking at that 5 days a week, that's 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week. If you can't put 10 hours a week in your business, it's not going to work. And I've seen people try and do it. It just doesn't work. It's not enough juice to activate that non-linear part of life. 10 hours a day, just to give you an idea, is what? 1/16 of a week, 1/17 of a week? It's not that much. Okay? Now, if you're really going into all-out action, 8 hours a day. That's for people who aren't doing any other business, who don't have a day job or whatever. Or for some people, that's people, according to Eric Worre, that have a full-time job. If you're going to go 90 days all-out max action, you do 8 hours. And he has a whole series on that. We refer to it in things. And if you're really going to go crazy, if you're going to do what the $1 million earners, they all say this. They all say 95% of the $1 million earners in this industry have all said they did a 90-day all-out at massive action blitz, which was 16 hours a day full-time for 90 days, and that launched their $1 million career. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to go all in, all out? Because remember, there's a series of steps you got to take for that. So here's the thing. Whatever you choose, 2 hours, 8 hours, 16 hours, map it out, make your plan, tell your story, but most of all, make it awesome. Make it the best thing ever. Tell everybody about it. Get excited about it. Be happy about it. Take the no's, the highs, the lows, all that. Just make it awesome. You can choose to make it awesome. The only thing that doesn't make it awesome is your story. So tell a better story. Look, the reality is best I see it, we don't really know what the world is. We've got opinions and perceptions and biases, and psychologists have pretty much proven that the mind's completely fallible. That most of what we think are is a bunch of program we got socially from our parents or whatever. Even everything that we see is based on a limited sensory version. So the fact of the matter is, how we see the world is, frankly, a story that we've told ourselves. So if we don't like where things are right now, why don't we just tell ourselves a different story? Tell ourselves a story that's empowering. Tell us a story that makes us feel awesome. Tell ourselves a story that produces a result, but don't tell yourself a story that says that you're going to get something for nothing. The world's not that crazy yet. You are going to have to put in something if you want to get something back. We live in a meritocracy planet, and you just give and you get back. Let's talk about the event. And when it comes to an event, you need location, you need flyers, you need tickets, you need speakers, you need promo work, and you need the enagicconvention.com. If you haven't gone to the enagicconvention.com site, I'm going to go to it. I'm going to talk on that and a little bit more at the very end. So we got an event coming. It's the Enagic Convention, July 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and around there in Vegas. Make it a great time. We got great prices on the hotel. It's going to be awesome. Everybody's going to be there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to finish up at the end of that. It's going to be exciting. I want to go to your daily action plan. I know we're really pushing the hour here, but I really want to get this in because this is important. By the way, this is going to be on the YouTube videos. You need a daily morning ritual. I listen to Tim Ferriss all the time. Tim Ferriss, guy that wrote the 4-Hour Body, 4-Hour Work Week, 4-Hour Chef, all that stuff. He's a great efficiency guy, really integrated digitally. He was in San Francisco, in all the startups and Tech Valley and stuff. And what he's noticed is that 85% of the population who are high performers or high achievers, they all have a ritual, how to get into state. Some people do better in a calm, meditative state. Some people do better in a high beta, high action state. Know your personality and what is the state that gets you, that allows you to be at your optimal communication level. The reality is you need 2 hours minimum of output a day. And what I mean by output is sending texts, sending emails, calling people, 3-way calls, presenting the product, presenting the business, and following up. That is positive output. I do my positive output from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in my businesses every single day. 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., that's when I do not open up my emails to start. I do not go to my Facebook. I don't do that. I get up in the morning, I do my meditation, I do my energization, I do my Course in Miracles to get into a positive spiritual aligned state where I recognize my values and where I am in the universe and this beautiful planet that we're on, and get in a happy place. And then I have my healthy shakes and all that sort of stuff, and bingo. That first 2 hours, I'm sharp, I'm clear, and I'm just pounding out whatever needs to go. I'm meeting with my #1 team members, my #1 people, whatever's going on. And then, bingo, I'm out of that state and I go exercise. And there's a book called The Powerful Engagement of how to maximize and keep efficient with your energy. And you want to go in bursts. Those bursts should be anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. Take a 10-minute timeout and go back at it. And I talk about here, if you note an asterisk, I've got a 1 hour of inspiration. The reason why I have 1 hour inspiration is because I need to fill up the well. I need to fill up the tank. Now, I filled myself up spiritually with my meditation, my energization, and my Course in Miracles. But I go to 1 hour business inspiration, performance. Today I was listening to a theoretical physicist from Harvard. Well, what does that have to do? Well, I just wanted her perspective. It was inspiring to me about how she saw the universe. Yesterday, I was listening to a guy that runs a Zen hospice center that helps people transit into, the death experience gracefully, right? Before that, I was listening to a mountain climber and talking about ascents and descents and how that works on mountain climbing. I listened to a guy a few weeks ago that has a high Q of 197 and can solve any problem on the planet. He has a team of geniuses. Before that, I was listening to Tony Robbins talk about peak performance. I listened to Robert Kiyosaki and how to escape the rat race. All these different things that inspire me, that whatever it happens to be. Maybe it's a spiritual program. Maybe it's Bob Proctor video. Lots of times I'm on the way to the gym, I just click on a YouTube video, anything with Tony Robbins. I got 10 minutes to get to the gym, I just click on that video and I'm listening to it on the way there. This next thing is when you're talking about your output, you need to use your tracking sheet. So for me, I got my books, I got my traction organizer over here, and I got my daily method of operation stuff. Write it down, I put it in my calendar. And that's how I translate the nonlinear into physical things. And every time I get done something, I check off on my little list, I got it done, and I get a sense of satisfaction and feeling good. And my brain releases dopamine, and I get motivated and excited, and your brain will do that same thing. You need to leverage the pharmacy in your brain, start rewarding you for your actions and celebrating the little things because they lead to bigger and bigger things. And use that tracking sheet so that you can get a numerical representation of what's going on biochemically for yourself and anchor those things in. Then, here's the thing. You need to contact 25 people per week and follow up with them for 90 days to build momentum. The reality is most people don't build momentum because they don't do that. So you look at that for 90 days. That's going to be approximately what? 12. It's going to be 13 weeks. 12. So let's just say 12 weeks. So over the course of 12 weeks, okay, you're going to contact approximately 300 people. That's it. In 25. But out of those 300 people, I can tell you what the numbers are. There is going to be 6 A's in that 300 people. And you don't know who those people are. They may not be people that you know. They may be people that you know. They may be people that you don't know that you're going to meet by talking to the people that you know. Take that one for a second. But the reality is if you commit to the 25 people, go to your Facebook, how many people are on there? Go to your email list, how many people are on there? Go to your list, write them down, and just go out and start blasting them. We sent you scripts, we sent you that stuff, just go do it. Go get some meetings, go get exposure, send out the videos, send out the things, go meet for coffee, find out what their goals are, dream. 25 people a week, right? You'll get about 5 appointments. That's what you'll get, right? But guess what? The next week, you might have 10 open conversations, you met 5 people. The next week, you keep going with those ones and you go back to you add 15 more to the list and 15 more. And then when someone joins, you start helping them go through their list. And chances are you won't even get to 100 people on your list or 200 people. You won't get to 300 people before you've built a momentum in your business. And then you're going to get to a point where you can't reach out to 25 people a week because you're like, I got to deal with the 10 people that we're already working on. We've got to close the sales for these people. We've got to help the groups. And that's when you know that your business has got momentum. Okay, so here's the magic of momentum. Now, let me show you the magic of this. Momentum minimizes the effects of the no's. If you're working on one person for 6 weeks and they say no, it's crushing. You're just crushed because you put so much energy on this person getting it that you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And that's a recipe for disaster. Number one, they can feel the pressure of that. Number two, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself because you're not contacting enough people. The numbers are the numbers of the numbers. So you got to reach out to those 25 people and you got to move. And the people who are ready will identify themselves by they'll be calling you and reaching out to you. The other thing about momentum, it turns fear into anticipation. This is everybody has fear in this business. Everybody is nervous about contacting people at some point or some level of person, right? The reality is that is real. Now, fear has a benefit and fear has a limit. And we've lived in a world, a culture of fear that shrinks people down. But you know what? When you face your fears, you find out it's never nearly as bad as you imagine. Most of what we fear never happens. Most of what we fear never happens. It just doesn't. So why is a person have fear? Because it's a program, and it's a program to keep people small. And a vision will help you overcome fear, and the best thing is to put it before you and say, one of the things I tell people when they're doing a demonstration for the first time or they're getting started, say, hey, look, you'd say to that person, you know what, I'm super nervous about presenting this information. I want to do a good job. I care about you, and I really believe in this. But I am nervous about that. You know what? That person's heart will open up and say, you know what? That's okay. Just do it. And they'll be cheering you on. They'll cheer you on. And you'll realize that your fear wasn't so bad. And then you come out of that and you're walking. You're like, wow, I feel great. Eventually, you'll get excited and you'll realize that fear is just a heightened state of energy. That nervous or anxiety is actually, you turn into anticipation. You feel the juice. It's your super self rising up to meet the occasion. The other thing about momentum, it provides perspective. It provides perspective on your business. It provides perspective on your life. It provides perspective on people. And when you have perspective, you can see, you start to view your business from a different altitude. You start to get above yourself and outside your story and start seeing other people's stories and other people's lives, and you start looking at your business from a different level because you've contacted enough people and you've had enough exposures. You start to learn from the experiences, okay? And this shows you where you can improve, where you can work, who you can work with, and how you can be more successful. The reality is altitude changes attitude. Let's say that one more time. Altitude changes attitude. When you can get to what that 40,000 foot view of your business and the people you're interacting and the processes you're doing and your ability to do this, it loses that fear. It loses the anxiety. You go, oh, that's not so bad. There, I could have done that better. Let's recalibrate that. Let's change that. Let's make some apologies there. Let's set some course in there. Let's avoid those people. Let's invite those people, and let's move forward. And that's getting altitude on your business. And eventually you work on your business, not in your business. You have an organization so big, you've got altitude, and you're looking, how do I help Bob and Mary and Sue and Fred? And you're looking at what have I learned from my experience? And from this position, how do we create the direction, the processes, the tools, the things that will allow you to be successful, okay? And Mr. Oshiro has a lot of altitude. He's got the highest altitude in the company because he's been doing this for over 40 years. He turned his vision into a worldwide dream that's changed people's lives around the world. So he's taken his vision and he's created a system, a network, a distribution empire, from manufacturing right to processing the orders, all that stuff, delivering the orders, servicing. He's created all of that so that you can reach your vision for physical, financial, and emotional success. I mean, that's a beautiful thing and a great thing to be a person of. I'm going to talk about personal accountability. We're almost done. We're going to get this to question. Personal accountability. Whiteboards and the RAS, the reticular activating system. I have a whiteboard in my bedroom that I walk by every day. Before I go to sleep, when I get up, my brain is seeing that whether I know it or not. It's seeing it. What are you focused on? The reticular activating system is what you focused on. So what you're focused on shows up. So if you've got things that keep you focused, pictures, vision boards, goal setting lists, you got your workstation that you work in every day, that's where you do work, and when you're home, you do home, that's powerful. Keeping journals, daily, weekly, and quarterly. Here they are. Okay? That's how you measure your results, and you can get accountable, and then you review each quarter and make adjustments. So, I reviewed my quarter the other night, and I reviewed it in several of my businesses already, and then I reviewed my personal one after the weekend because I was so fried from the first two that I did. I was like, okay, I did one week, I did the next week, and then I did my personal stuff the third week of the quarterly reviews. And I said, oh, you know what? Here's some areas that I'm not succeeding in. Here's some areas I'm doing great in. Here's where I've overextended myself. Here's where I've underperformed, and I made some tweaks in that going forward for this quarter. And we'll see how this quarter turns out. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm not doing the same thing I did last month on the things that I wasn't producing the result I wanted. And sometimes you're producing the right result. It just takes more time. You realize that, well, I didn't assess the time properly, right? And that's okay too. You just get better and better at it over time. So that's what it boils down to, real simple. I am going to turn this over to one last thing before we go tonight, and we're gonna put this. I don't know where that is. Can I get that? There we go. Let's go here before we go to questions. So we're going to go to questions in a minute, but I want to talk about the global convention. I want you to be there, and then we're going to open up to questions. Check this out. Check out this little video that we're going to play right now.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
You can't hear it? All
No.
right. Well, there we go. We'll have to save that till after. Let's go to questions, and we'll post this in the in the links. So where's our questions? Let's go. Thanks for saving me. I was just getting really pumped up by the new video. I was really enjoying it. I watched it beforehand. It was awesome. So we'll have to post this in a second. So, okay, guys, team, here we go. I know we ran a little late tonight. I was so pumped up tonight about this that I just wanted to keep going and sharing, and I do this out of passion, and I love this. So let's talk about this. So, hey, hey, Clara, how you doing? Great to have you on the thing. Welcome. Not really a question, but good to have you on board. Okay, Kai and Heather here. Thanks for the message. It was great for us. Good, awesome. Is that all? No questions. Man, do we got any questions? Can I put my? Let me just put this in here while we're waiting for some questions. That we got none. I kind of went off. Enagic. Oh, can I do this? I can. Here we go. This is fun. So I'm gonna, because we're a little slow on questions, I want everybody when they get before they leave tonight, I want you to put this here. I don't know why that didn't come out.
What are you trying to
Try
do?
this
Copy
again.
and paste it into
I want
the chat? Put it
Yeah,
into
is it
the
working?
chat box. You have a chat box, and then hit all in the chat instead of in the questions box.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Kim.
Sure.
That's why we have Kim on here, because she gets this all going properly. It's not working. So here's, I want everyone to watch the Enagic convention video. And I don't know why I can't get this right, but that's okay.
I'll get it.
If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. It's an amazing, exciting video about our event. I'm so excited about it. So maybe we can get it up here. www.enagic-convention.com. I think that's going to get us there. Can you find that, Kimmy?
Yep, I just put it in the chat for everybody.
You put it in the chat for everybody? Yay.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So is there a way that we can all watch that together, Kim?
No, not the way we've got it set up.
Okay. So before you guys go tonight, because we ran a little late, we don't have a lot of questions, I'm going to encourage everybody to go to the chat box and go to the enagicconvention.com video. There's a beautiful video. I want you to post it on your Facebook. I want you to post it in your challenge. Say, hey, and put a little bit, hey guys, super excited. And it's 90 days to the big convention. We're going to blow it up over this month. Who wants to come and share a hotel with me? Who wants to come down and meet us? It's going to be a great time in Vegas. We've got a great connection. We're doing something good for the environment, good for your health, good for your finances, gives you tax incentives. I'm going to show you how you can take a free trip, literally a free trip to Vegas with this, and we'll talk about that a little bit when we're going to do a webinar here with accounting, because as we get so many questions about it. But the bottom line is, this is the one, this is the time, this is the business that you want to get involved with. This is where it's at. We're doing it. So why not join us? Why not come to this event? enagic.convention.com. We hope to see you there. And that's it for tonight, folks. A lot of information. Really want you to get focused on your vision, to eliminate the distractions, to commit to your time schedule each and every day. Look, if you've got bills, if you've got challenges, more sales will solve them. It really will. More people in your business. You want to change the world? Put an Enagic machine in somebody's house. You want to help your friends? Share them with the Enagic business. It's the greatest lifestyle business there is. It's with the technology that everybody needs. It's with a company that's solid, that's with a heart, and has a compensation plan that nobody else can replicate or duplicate. So what are you waiting for? For those of you who want to reach out to me, of course, you can contact me at wadelightheart@gmail.com. You can go to the bookwade/schedule1meetme.so/bookwade. It's on the bottom of all my emails. You can book a time with me. I'd love to work with you. I'd like to plan with you, and I'd like for you to get your dreams and reach your vision. Because the reality is, if all of you reach your vision, when I get to the end of this life, I'm going to look back and say, it's not going to be the money that we made. It's not going to be the amount of machines we sold. It's not going to be the pins and the ranks and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be, you know, did I live, did I love, and did I matter? Brendan Burchard covers that really. Did I live my life along with my values? Right? Did I love the people that I was around? Did I connect with people? Did I care? Did I put my heart out there? And did I matter? Did I make a difference? Did I move the needle forward for humanity just that ever bit? Did I make that difference? And if you really get disciplined about your actions and ask those questions each day, the discipline comes out, the momentum comes in, and the joy fills your life, and a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment that you cannot replicate, and it's worth it. It shows up as work in crisis at first, and it comes out as opportunity and triumphant success when you focus on your vision and turn it into your traction daily method of operation. Get it, do it, plan it, and review it. We'll see you on the next webinar. I'm Wade T. Lightheart. This is the Prosperity Health Alliance. Love you. See you soon. Get those tickets and make sure you check out www.enagic-convention.com. It's in the chat box. Click on it now. Get inspired. Connect with the team. We'll see you in Vegas.